As you know, prior to enactment of the World Water Supply Act of 2006, authorization for VOR, World Water Supply Projects, with a hopscotch of separate authorities tacked into appropriation bills of miscellaneous water budget authorization bills. For example, Lewis and Clark Regional Water System was added as an amendment to the fiscal year 2001 military construction appropriations bill. There is clearly a need for a uniform set of criteria to evaluate projects, allowing for the Bureau to recommend to the Congress future projects for authorization and construction, and that was what was intended in the World Water Act. Please turn your attention to the funding chart showing the gap between the proposed and enacted funding for the Great Plains water projects. It is clear that recent VOR recommendations differ widely. Inconsistent budget recommendations seem to frustrate the Bureau's goal of construction of municipal, rural, and industrial water systems. Please explain how the VOR will achieve its goal of constructing these systems when the administration's budget recommendations are so inconsistent from one year to the next.
Thank you, Senator. One of the things that I can do as an engineer is to help the policymakers understand what types of criteria I would bring to the selection process for projects, or for funding proposals for projects. And you see now that the administration, as we approach this, we have the two criteria that we lean on very heavily. One is how far along the project is to completion. And the second is what extent does that project help serve Native American needs. It's been our experience that the needs within those tribal communities are sometimes the most severe, the most dire of situations. So we use those as guidelines to get started on which projects to direct our funding. One of the frustrating things for all of us in the time that we live is that more money would accomplish more good things. And in recent years, Congress has enacted budgets in addition to what the President has proposed or requested, and that helps the projects move along more quickly. I am thankful for
that. Mr. Ryan, I think the VOR suffers from a perception in South Dakota that there is no rhyme or reason as to how budgets are formulated. In 1 year, Lewis and Clark project is deemed a priority and is recommended to receive $15 billion. Next year, nothing, no funding at all. This weakens confidence in the VOR. How can the VOR improve the budget process so that projects receive a more consistent recommended level of funding?
Senator, I believe that consistency does help as communities are planning long-term, not only for what their needs are and how they're going to meet those needs, but how they're going to finance for those. That's why I do advocate using the criteria that we've developed to date, and additional criteria as envisioned under the Rural Water Supply Act, because I think that helps bring back some predictability to the situation. Another thing that we can do to help, I believe, is that as we understand the technical requirements on the jobs, and many of them are site-specific or project-specific, working with the project sponsors, we can help reach a meeting of the minds, at least on the technical level, of what the cash flow requirements are to complete projects, do the calculations to try to get things done as an economic and efficient way as we possibly can. In recent years, we've been thrown a bit of a curveball with the price of some of our components for constructing the systems, but we have to take that into account and we have to move forward. But my experience has been the more predictable or the more consistent that we can be as a partner, the better that is for our remaining partners as they make their plans on how to proceed.
I'd like now to turn to one project in particular, the meeting returning system. Recently, you met with the Sioux tribe on how to improve coordination between tribal sponsors and the BOR. What is the quality of that relationship between the BOR and the tribe, and how can it be improved?
I would characterize our relationship as very strong and improving. This last week when I visited with some representatives from the tribal membership, one of the things that we were talking about was improving the communications by having more frequent, regularly scheduled sessions, making sure that we're approaching things not just in a technical aspect, but in a true government-to-government aspect. So we have our technical folks working together, managers working together, and then tribal leaders and myself as the administration's representative working together. It's as I characterized it to someone that I work with, it's like a ladder. You have the rungs and you have the stiles, and they need to be working at all different levels and across from side to side in order to be effective. So that's something I think would help us. Especially now as we're nearly finished and we have the sunset date of 2013 to complete. So we need to make sure that we finish this race. We need to be strong to finish.
For now, I would like to wrap up my questions for Mr. Brown.